Alright guys, you know who I am, Ralph Johnston, and welcome to another episode of Ralph Johnston Photography. But today we're not talking about photography at all. We're actually talking to Hayley Johnston, who's a celiac. This is going to be an interview process that's going to be going on probably a few throughout this year and everything like that, so that's perfectly that's what I'm going to be doing a few of these, because Hayley is very interesting to me. She has celiac disease. So Hayley, tell us about celiac disease.
All right, Ralph. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease that triggers an immune response when you eat gluten. Gluten is wheat, rye, barley, malt, and a few GMOs that have crazy names that no one can pronounce. So when someone with celiac disease ingests gluten, it causes an autoimmune reaction where your body starts to attack itself. In the long run, it kills the villi in the lining of your stomach and your small intestines so that you cannot absorb nutrients properly. So you go a very long time without being diagnosed and continue to eat that gluten. It can make you extremely malnourished and very sick.
That's not good.
No.
So pretty much what has gluten in? Just all types of breads and grains and stuff, or
All things good.
all things good? There you go. If you have celiac disease, guys, you can't have nothing good anymore ever.
Nope. So beers, breads, a lot of sauces that are thickened with wheat, anything with grains that are the ones that I mentioned earlier. It's a pretty common thing, but with new technology in food science and just a raised awareness for gluten intolerances and celiac disease, there are a lot more products out on the market. People have this false understanding that because a cake is gluten-free, it's going to be healthy. A cake is still a cake, so don't fall into the, oh, it's gluten-free cake, it's healthy. No, it's still cake, and it's probably got a lot more sugar in it because they're trying to compensate for the lack of gluten.
Okay. So pretty much they're making stuff for you and everything, I guess. Well, like for example, regular flour has gluten. Okay. What is your substitute for that then?
So there's several different substitutes. So there are some ancient grains like sorghum, which a lot of people have never heard of. There's sorghum flour, there's rice flour, there's corn flour, there's almond flour, there's coconut flour. So basically anything. There's cricket flour, like literally, like I'm talking like bugs.
Like
crickets. You just take crickets and you I think they heat them really hot and then they grind them up and then they make it into.
Is it like a black flour or something? Or?
I've never actually seen it like in its raw form.
Okay.
I've only seen like chips or cereal cooked with cricket flour. There's a really fun brand called Chirps that is made out. It's like chips that are made out of cricket flour, and their like slogan is "Eat bugs," and I really like that. It always freaks my friends out when I'm eating cricket.
Well,
chips.
I actually have tried just straight up cricket before, so.
I mean, it makes sense. The whole thing is like in other countries, crickets are abundant. Yeah. And I mean, they are abundant here too. If you've ever been in my basement, but it's a very easy and sustainable food to use. It's really high in protein and very cheap to produce.
So, like you said, gluten is in a lot of things that people consume all the time and everything. What are some of the challenges, like when you go to restaurants and stuff? I mean, how do you know what has it? I mean, have you already just figured out a list of stuff that you can't have, or? Yeah,
I mean, it kind of depends on the place and how knowledgeable their owners and their chefs are. I run a blog called Sociable Celiac, and I go around the St. Louis area reviewing restaurants, kind of being the guinea pig for others to try out new restaurants, asking questions, making sure that everything is safe. I am looking at reviews on Yelp and other websites that people have said, oh, this place has gluten-free options. But really, just if it's a higher-end place, they're most likely going to have like a meat and vegetable or meat potato type. Like potato's a vegetable, but like something that's naturally gluten-free. You just have to make sure they're not marinating it in a sauce that contains gluten. But then other restaurants, like Tex-Mex and Mexican restaurants, are usually a safe bet. A lot of the things are corn-based and not wheat-based. And it's really just asking questions, being that kind of annoying person at the restaurant who asks the waiter a million questions. The waiter doesn't know, I'll ask if they can bring a manager over, or the chef even. And then there's a lot of cross-contamination issues. So the FDA threshold for being gluten-free or not gluten-free is 20 parts per million, which is like teeny, tiny, like you can't even see with the naked eye parts per million, and if it has over 20 parts per million, it's not considered gluten-free.
Okay.
So that means if you have a fryer and you're making beer battered onion rings in that fryer, and then the next thing you put in the fryer are just like potatoes for french fries, those french fries are no longer gluten-free because they're in the same oil that something that's not gluten-free has touched. So you have to see if there's a dedicated fryer, if they're using shared cooking space. There's some great restaurants in the area that make pizza in specific ovens, so like the only thing that ever goes in that oven is gluten-free pizza, which is awesome.
Wow. So it's pretty much a whole system that you have to make sure all the time, no matter what. What happens when you have gluten?
So there are actually like 300 different symptoms that people experience when they have celiac disease. They are like anything from like vomiting when you ingest gluten as a response to get it out of your system. There are skin issues. I deal with kind of the more mental effects like anxiety, depression, brain fog, feeling really like slowed down, insomnia, other GI issues that I'm sure no one wants the nitty-gritty details of, bloating. I mean, there's seriously headaches, migraines. There's 300, so we could do a 20-minute video of me explaining the symptoms.
There's this.
Yeah. So
20 minutes later, this, and finally this.
3 hours later. So that's one of the reasons why it's kind of difficult to diagnose if the doctor isn't well-versed in the disease, is we both could have celiac disease and we could have not a single shared symptom.
Oh, wow.
And then there are the rare people that don't have a physical response to it, they have an internal response, and so those are the especially hard ones because although it's breaking down the inside of their body and making them not be able to absorb nutrients properly, they're not feeling necessarily bad, and so they continue to eat it, which in the long run, if you continue to eat it, it can lead to like colon cancer and other types of cancer, infertility, lots of really major issues, even if you're not feeling the like external symptoms that some people experience.
Okay. So pretty much in short, you can't have nothing because it's bad for you.
Yeah. And a lot of people have coupled food allergies or other intolerances,
So how do you survive day to day? I mean, do you have I know that you know how to cook for yourself and stuff like that. So do you stay at home most of the time and cook your food and then,
it depends. I don't really like friends to cook for me. I have learned with my disease to say no, even if, and not to worry about other people's feelings because I kind of have to worry about myself. You may say you made me gluten-free brownies, but you could have used the same pan that you made regular brownies in. And so it has been a change of being able to say no to things. I trust my mom's cooking because she understands it very, very well because I was living with her when I was first diagnosed. And I trust a few people in my family because they also have celiac disease. And then it's really finding restaurants that I know and I trust and have values that are supportive of people with food allergies. Cook a lot at home and cooking mostly, or trying to cook naturally gluten-free things, so proteins and veggies and eggs and whatever have you. But yeah.
There are many negatives with celiac disease. Is there any positives?
Definitely. I have gained the strongest community of people. With my blog, I run an Instagram account, and I have connected to mostly women all over the world who are going through the same challenges as myself. And so I have been able to build such a strong, supportive community within my family and friends, but also with people who have the same chronic illness as myself. And I think that it is positive because I'm no longer sick every day, and it is annoying sometimes to have to like ask the waiter 8 million questions and then go get the chef and the owner and the manager and like the food supplier. But overall, it's been a positive experience for me because I'm no longer constantly ill. Like I've never gotten, we call it glutened, when you accidentally or on purpose ingest gluten. We call it agglutening or being glutened. And so I've never had a really bad glutening. So I've been pretty healthy since I went gluten-free. I mean, it took a while for my gut to heal, but if I stick to my gluten-free diet, I'm typically pretty healthy.
Okay, awesome. So pretty much you reached out and found a lot of other people like you and have a community with them. That's fantastic. So where can we find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at the Sociable Celiac or at www.sociableceliac.com and on Facebook at Sociable Celiac. May is Celiac Awareness Month, so I'm currently doing a pre-order of shirts that say Celiac Disease, Not a Fad, with our awareness ribbon, which is lime green. 10% of those proceeds are going to the Celiac Disease Foundation, which supports research, support for cure.
Awesome. And you also have a YouTube channel.
I do have a YouTube channel. I just started it. It is just under Hayley Johnston. That is with my brand of shirts that I sell outside of the awareness shirts that are GFAF Life. So that website or the YouTube channel is basically focusing on what it's like to live as a celiac. The video I'll be posting next is going to be a week in the life of a celiac, seeing the struggles I deal with and the fun food I find on the way.
And I'll put a link to all of this in the description below also, so you can contact Hayley wherever you need to. So thank you, Hayley. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Uncle Ralphie.
Yeah, we both have the last name of Johnston, but we're not related yet. So.
But he's doing a DNA test. We'll find out.
So anyways, that's it for this week. All right, until next week, peace out. Bye.
Cheers.